Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ESL's coverage of the Overwatch World Cup group stages. We thought we'd throw this one in here just to jump in and see an extra game, otherwise it would have been a bigger break. So we're yet again going to see France, this time going up against the Ukraine.
Yeah, and the map pool for you guys, as I'm looking at it right now, is Gibraltar, Hollywood, and Lijiang Towers. So there's potential to get that King of the Hill map in there at the end if we are fortunately lucky enough, as I write completely over the desk missing my paper. But Ukraine. So they actually don't have Kenzie as a captain. We were talking about this in the break right before we started. Gunrocks, I think, took over his position as captain, and they actually brought in someone else because Kenzie was unable to play. And the way it is in the rules, if you use a sub in any of the matches, that sub becomes a permanent player on the team.
That's right.
So Kenzie now, if Ukraine does succeed and get to the BlizzCon to the finals, Kenzie won't be on the team anymore. Yeah. And all teams have been notified about that. Yeah,
so it's a bit of a shame, of course, not to see Kenzie. He's probably one of the more recognisable players on this particular lineup. But we're going to be jumping into game now in just a moment.
No!
What's wrong? Oh, you didn't get into lobby.
Yeah.
That sucks. That is a shame.
Bad life.
I'm so sorry.
Sad life for me.
I'm in lobby.
Actually, maybe I can join you. We'll see. I don't know. You can, I think, invite me to games still technically. But you're all right. We're actually into Gibraltar. It looks like France will be on the defense and Ukraine going to be on the attack. Apparently, we're not even friends. Is that real life?
Yeah, because this is the different account.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, we'll just hop in a game on your screen, and we'll see how things kick off here, if I can. There we go. Let's drop in. Sorry, guys. Yeah, a little bit hectic as we try to get everything set up and good to go, but it looks like we're in a game here.
Yes, so the Ukraine is Scarabaeus, Optimus, Gunrocks, Juths, Xron, and Kuroneko. So again, interesting mix of players. Some I'm familiar with, some I'm sort of not, to be honest with you. I do know Kuroneko, I do know Optimus. I did say he's on Reason Gaming's roster, or at least did play for them at one point. And Optimus has been playing since like early beta, so he's been around for ages. On the French side, though, we have Nox Crew, Alphacast, D-Gun, Kitty, and Mikolo. We just saw them play earlier on. They gave Croatia a run for their money, especially when it came to Eichenwalde. There was a very dominant performance, in my opinion, from the French side. So we'll have to see how this translates over on towards this, because obviously we have Gibraltar, then, like you said, Jason, Hollywood, then Lijiang Tower. So potential for us to see that one here, but that's quite good, actually.
The turrets on the tire. And the tire actually moves. I didn't really know that. I thought the turrets don't.
I don't think it used to move. I think it moves in this patch. I'm not sure. Either way, so this is how the French side prepares to attack. Let's have a look at the defense side of the Ukraine as well. See what their setup is right now. All quite using this high ground here as well. I don't know that everyone... I don't know if McCree could get up there. Oh, you had to get the long way around, I guess.
No. You can actually make the jump. You use your dash, your shift to roll, and you can jump out of the roll to get you the extra distance. So you can make it. But they're holding really aggressive, like you've been saying. And with the changes to Gibraltar, there's no point directly under them anymore. So we're going to see if they're going to concede this area or actually try to contest it the best they possibly can. But they're using extra on the soldier, most importantly, being damage amp by Kuroneko. But they don't have a Zen to back it up with to, get the damage amp out of Mercy and the damage amp out of Zen. But he can still put a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah, so Xron going to go and take that standard soldier 76 position while the rest of his team sits up in the server room here. Will be Nox on Reinhardt yet again now, as we expected to see in that last match. And Optimus is trying to spread a little bit of damage over this one. Xron's getting a lot of damage from this position, by the way. I can see his ultimate percentage just ticking up, and up, and up.
I mean, it's damage, but they're not getting any kills, really. And that's, I guess, the important part, because the payload, they didn't contest it a single time here. Ukraine gave up this entire first phase of the map for nothing.
Yep. They definitely messed that up. Nice shot by Kitty there as well. He's going to clean up on towards the soldier 76 of Xron there as he tries to get away. So let's have a look now what the French side is doing here. They were given that point essentially for free. Ukraine could have challenged that one, but chose not to for whatever reason. Nox charged in and died mid-charge there. Oh, this could be pretty nasty here as well. I think Nox wants to start the fight off here as well. Going to come forward. Rather speedy. So I guess he does have the nano boost on him. No, he just got speed boosted there as well. So he goes in, he also has his ult, and now most of this room is under control of the French side here. Ukrainians have to press their way in from the outside. This is not an easy way of approaching. Gunrocks has switched over towards Farah here to play over on towards this room, and Xron is going to be on McCree.
Yeah, Farah's actually not bad at all for him. Considering they don't have a McCree or a soldier to deal with them, he should have a lot of free reign. The problem is, the lineup of France is so tanky with triple tanks and triple support that it's going to be hard for him to actually kill anyone without a big ultimate coming in. But there's a Graviton Surge allowing Ukraine a chance to hold.
Yeah, but no one really gets any kills off the back of that one now. And you can see Mikolo able to use the whole hog to get a bit of damage done. Does fall down there. Scarabaeus gets himself 2. And with the barrage coming over the top, doesn't really claim any kills, but definitely is keeping the French side honest. Scarabaeus misses the charge, and Crew is going to be more than happy to put him out of his misery.
And this payload still being contested for now, but I think France have more than enough people here to actually push this one across. Ukraine is still trying to fight with the help of the Soundbear. They're actually going to repel France for the first time. And Ukraine, I would like to see actually a... Thing is, I talked to Flynn about this yesterday, and a lot of teams still haven't found the answer to the triple tank, triple support setup. Because you look at a Reaper and like, oh yeah, Reaper would actually work really well here, but the problem is it's still really hard to kill any of those tanks necessarily. But France have finally swapped over. They've actually allowed Crew to go over to McCree. They got the double tank, they got the DPS, but they still have the triple support being left in.
Yeah, and they make sure they keep the Zaya as well. Mikolo is the one to be picking that one up now instead of the Roadhog. So good positioning here for the Ukrainian side. They can rain a bit of damage up from above, but when the fight starts, they are going to have to get their hands dirty. Nox already a long way forward. Look at this, the French just walk onto the payload. They don't care. They're going to force the Ukrainians to come to them and actually start off the fight there. Scarabaeus does land the charge, but he gets put to sleep immediately there, and Nox is going to send him into the next wall. He's going to be using, of course, that nano boost as effectively as he possibly can, distracting a lot of attention, doing a lot of damage down as well. And this is just a solid fight for the French side. An Earth Shatter, just for Scarabaeus, he'll take it.
And Nox can go back with the charge. He's trying to connect on a current echo, but he can't connect. But it doesn't matter. Crew's going to be there to shut him down. The payload will be captured. And now France are looking at the final push here. Ukraine need to put up some sort of defense here, but luckily for them, they're going to have the Graviton Surge, so they have the potential to pull this off. And if they actually engage with this relatively soon, there's no support ultimate out of France to actually keep them alive off of this one. So there's no sound barrier just yet. But we see Ukraine switching. Extron, he's going over to the Genji. Gunrock's onto the Reaper to deal with the 2 tanks, which is actually a really smart play out of him. But the defensive Genji, it's really hard to play that unless you're one of those players who's like one of the best Genjis in the world. If you're Shadowburn, if you're Kib. So it's going to be tough for him to have an opportunity to make this work, but he's sure as hell going to try.
Oh, the Graviton Surge comes in to try and shut down the Deadeye, but it doesn't work. Scarabaeus and Gunrock's fall, and Crew now with good positioning, safe positioning, in fact, able to get the damage down. This is going to force the res straight out of Kuroneko, and Crew gets knocked to the ground. Scarabaeus does land the Earth Shatter and charges Mikolo into the adjacent wall, but Nox is there, trying to defend Mikolo as much as he can, but now Scarabaeus not getting any attention. Now, the great chase is on. He's trying to find Mikolo, but now the entirety of the France are turning on him now. Good little peel from the French side. Going to be able to shut down Scarabaeus, and Optimus caught out on his own a bit here.
Thing is, I think it's fine if they lose this fight here, because Scarabaeus, he built up so much ult percent from being able to swing away so long there, and he did something really smart, actually picking up the health pack in the midst of that fight. But we have to focus on what's happening right now, because Ukraine are trying to stall for time. Gunrox is a little bit too far pushed up. The Earth Shadow of Nox is ready, and he gets blocked out by the enemy shield.
Yeah, Nox just got wrecked then as well. He got charged down, and now we see the Earth Shadow coming out from Scarabaeus on the other side of the fight. He throws in a Fire Strike, trying to come forward. X-Roll manages to get on towards Crew, so that McCree already missing here. This should be a 1-5 for Ukraine if things keep going the way they are. Good charge. Alpha Cast gets turned into Alpha Cast Jam, and it is going to be a hold here for the Ukrainians right towards the end of the map.
Scarabaeus actually doing really good on Reinhardt here. I mean, the ult percent he built up in that last fight and blocking the Earth Shatter out of Nox, because the thing is, he jumped, right? And Reinhardt ultimate doesn't go off till you land on the ground, but because he jumped around the corner to use it, Scarabaeus was able to get the shield up in time and then counter it himself. Honestly, fantastic job by him. And now they have the Death Blossom to be used out of Gunrocks. And there's no res out of France, so there's no second chance. They don't even have a Transcendence to deal with it just yet, and Gunrox is perfectly set up for this one. He's waiting for that call out from his team, and France isn't going to know what hit him.
Yeah, and a shield comes in as well. That's all you need. It's going to be an easy pick up there as well, but quickly hooked in there. Mikolo, they're trying to get it done. Scarabaeus goes in over the top, and now Nox as well does have the nano boost going. It expires, though. Expires a little bit too soon for his liking, and he falls.
That was hilarious, because you had Mikolo get charged into the air, but he actually hooked Gunrox into position still at the same time. That was a little bit fortunate for him, nonetheless.
You can't act while you're pinned, I guess, so he must have been free of that animation.
But, I mean, nonetheless, Gunrox, great position. Also, Juthies to actually speed him up at the right time, to actually give him the ability to pick up those extra kills, especially onto D-Gun towards the back. And our France are struggling a little bit here onto this last push, but they've got the sound barrier. But they have to worry about this Graviton Surge that's going to be coming in. Not to mention Scarabaeus again hitting a great Earth Shatter, and he charges D-Gun!
Nicely done. Now it's going to force a sound barrier coming out for the French side here. They need to recover. They need to try and bring these numbers back. But even after using the sound barrier, they get 1 kill for the fight. Very convincing hold by Ukraine there, off the back of a massive Earth Shatter from Scarabaeus. Note, they didn't have to use any more ults, and it was a bit of a desperation or maybe a little bit of a reactive sound barrier from Alpha Cast, but that's not when you want to use it. When you're already going to lose the fight, you've got 4 people on the ground, you want to draw ultimates out, not try and counter them with your own when you're behind.
I don't know, Optimus though. him and Gunrox together. Like, that's the Wamba combo they need to completely shut them down, and Kitty doesn't even have Transcendence anytime soon. He's going to pop it onto 3 people. Where's Gunrox? He's going to pop at the Death Blossom, but he gets Earth Shattered down, I believe, by Nox, so he doesn't actually land anything off of this.
And then Crew trying to go for a Dead-Eye from the backside, but gets picked up there very quickly. It was probably reflected into him, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Ukrainians a little bit low, but that's a nice little res coming in from Kuroneko. Going to keep them fighting, keep them on their feet. Gunrox is well and truly in the middle of the French side now, but the Transcendence making it hard for him to get any of that damage to stick. He's instead going to look for D-Gun, who was himself very deep in enemy territory, who will fall.
Kuroneko actually played that one really well because he jumped in for the res, right? But then he hopped back to Juthi's with the Guard Angel to stay alive. Because most Mercies you see nowadays, they die once they pop off a big res, like a 5-man ultimate or 4-man ultimate. But because he was able to hop back away to his teammate, he doesn't die. He's still there to build up another ultimate, which he's now at 90% basically. So he has another res after he just used that res in this previous fight. And even Gunrox from the backside is being a nuisance here.
Only one push remains here as well. It's going to be an Earth Shatter available here for Scarabaeus, but he gets picked up before he can use it there as well. Not ideal. He was taken so low and still opted to try and make it happen. It's not going to work out. And the French see an opening. They're going to try and go for it here, but the res comes in. Scarabaeus, so he'd already used his ult. Gunrox comes in here with the Reaper Copter and gets himself a couple, but it was actually Xron who got most of the kills over the top of that fight. The Genji Reaper combo, getting the team wipe, getting the game done, and only 2 checkpoints reached by France here. Not what they would have hoped to see.
I just want to point something out too during that game. That's what was in one of the recent patches. So you had Gunrox on the Reaper, right? He would jump in like the second to last fight, we got Earthshot immediately by Nox. The problem is that because of the recent changes and how ult percent drains when you're channeling an ultimate, instead of now, it's now like every 0.25 seconds instead of 1 second, his ultimate was gone. So he used it, but it only lasted for like a second. And because he disrupted it at that time, he didn't have like 50-60% charge to actually use into the next fight. So it actually fully consumed his ultimate, which is a big change to what we saw in the previous patch, and actually delayed him to be, being effective into the next fight. However, as you saw, he had it in the end anyways, and he was able to wipe them out completely. But so those minor little things coming in, those little changes that like tank players and McCree players have to adapt to.
What do you think about the French team not going in with a Mercy into these fights? Because you saw some very clutch reses coming from Kuroneko that allowed the Ukrainians to hold.
So, it's weird. Something that Flame and I really hit on, I think it's a video that's coming out from him soon, is you can have a Mercy in a team and the res is all good, but what are you actually resing? And from what I saw, they had Crew on McCree. They had Alpha Cast on Soldier. They had Mikolo, who was on, if I'm not mistaken, he was on Roadhog at the end, right?
No, I think he switched back. Yeah.
The heroes he was resing, they didn't really have a great escape ability to escape once they did get rezzed anyways. So like Crew, obviously as McCree, you get rezzed, you can dodge or you can shift away. That's it. You don't have the ability to actually escape like a Tracer does, like a Genji does, like a Zarya with a shield, who then again doesn't get full energy. I don't think necessarily they needed to go for it. The problem was they weren't watching the backside behind them. Like, they weren't really cognizant of what was around them. And Gunrox time and time again was constantly able to just get behind the team and put on a lot of extra pressure. Not to mention Scarabaeus, like the charges he had on the D-Gun to shut him down on Genji, the Earth Shatters as well, that he was able to pull out. Even blocking the Earth Shatters just kind of held France back.
Well, see if they can now hold the Ukrainians back in the same fashion. French taking a very, well, I guess defensive position here as well. They're not even trying to use the high ground. Just a couple of people in the underpass, just getting some fire strikes thrown through the action. So the payload's going to move along, as you may expect at this stage of the game, and Scarabaeus will be the first player to go topside. Joining him will be Xron, just above him to his right now, and D-Gun's going to challenge here as well. Gets aggressive, shaves a little bit of health off Scarabaeus, but also just sends a message. And
he's most importantly locking down the high ground control here too, so it kind of makes Xron like double guess if he wants to go this way, and also Scarabaeus to even jump around the side. But it looks like the whole team of Ukraine are actually just going to be grouping up here. I would imagine they're going to want to push in either through the server room or drop in on top, or obviously go in through the low ground to force maybe D-Gun out of his position, as they've been able to do with Gunrox. So now France have lost the high ground control, but somehow Crew still picks up the kill in the midst of this. If Gunrox stayed alive, they had such a positional advantage over France. Yeah, now they're able to fight back.
The thing is, as D-Gun backed away, he took 3 big shots with the shotguns and actually shaved about 100 health off of Gunrox there as well. So it was an easy pickup. Like, a headshot is going to be enough even at that range for Crew to get the kill. So a little bit vulnerable there. Still, the high ground control is over in the hands of Ukraine. They can still work with this here. But again, they're just sort of trying to get chip damage. No one's actually managing to get kills. There's no point for Xron to run in, because he only wants to go in if it's a guaranteed kill that he can get, so he can get back out. Ooh. But here we go. Now comes the nano boost in. Scarabaeus trying to get towards the fight. Crew, though, sets up a big 2-man Deadeye, despite Scarabaeus being in front of him. I think the shield was down, so I don't know how Crew managed to get that one happening. But still, that's going to be enough to really take the punch out of this fight for Ukraine. They're going to have to regroup and go again.
Kitty and I think Alpha played that one really well too, because they saw Crew be jumped on by Scarabaeus, and A nano boosted Winston is nothing you can scoff at. Like, it does a lot of damage, especially if you get like a Discord orb on top of you, which luckily for France, they're not actually running against them. But they kept him alive. They kept Crew alive to get the double kill, which is really effective in that fight. But you see Ukraine, I guess their answer was, well, we don't know how to break this defense, this deadlock. Let's send Scarabaeus in. What I would like to see, actually, is either Gunrock switch over to a Tracer to play, to pair in with the Winston and the Genji to jump on people, or maybe somehow play the McCree on this high ground after his entire team is engaged. But they don't really have an engage-heavy comp, necessarily.
They're not going to come out here from Gunrocks, and this is about as much engage as you're going to get. AlphaCast does go down in that fight there as well. He fell with his ultimate available. No sound barrier available here for the French side. And now Gunrocks wants to harass out Nox as much as he possibly can. Good Earthshatter comes in. That's D-Guns coming straight through here with the Death Blossom. Good amount of damage, but sound barrier was drawn out for the Ukrainian side. They're actually going to disengage here for the most part. Just
well, there's no payload. They actually left the payload behind them because it constantly moves backwards. With the new patch, there's no point there anymore, right? So it keeps going backwards towards spawn. It doesn't stop in this underpass anymore. So they had to run back forward to push it back up, but because they did that, because they didn't have the payload with them, Deegan's able to pick up 4 kills in total in that fight and hold them off again. So Ukraine, you need to keep that payload pushing before you go for the engagement. That's just something subtle about the patches that have happened recently that teams need to adapt to.
Deegan now re-establishes high ground control. However, it looks like, yeah, very aggressive plays coming here for the French side. Nox very, very close to death there. Now X-Ron going to pull out the Dragon Blade. This should seal the deal for the most part. He's going to go into the Graviton Surge and just use it to his advantage. Now looking for Deegan up on high. He's forced to get away with the Wraith Walk, but he won't last long. He has to come out of that form in the middle of the opposition team. But so much time has been gained here for France. Not only do they get time to set up properly inside this, inside the hangar room, potentially, but now they have to fight their way through. There's been 30 seconds left on the clock here. They can even go for one more fight, potentially.
They've contested, actually. The McCree's on top of the payload. He takes down Annie, takes down Kuroneko. Eventually, he will fall, and the payload will capture the point. The France have done a lot of extra work here, and you can see Mikolo just let himself die because he realizes we need to respawn back in. We're going to lose control of the hangar phase for now, but we have every opportunity to take it back. I don't know if they're going to necessarily sit on top of the actual shuttle, though, because Nox switched over to Winston. Mikolo's still on the Zarya. And what does Deegan go with? I'm assuming he's going to keep the Reaper because he has that Death Blossom, but they need to make sure they have this high ground control, which AlphaCast is, I think, trying to gain for them. That allows Deegan to get in position to drop on top of him.
Well, in the middle of the shuttle is where most of the fighting's happening. Gunrock's got nowhere to go there. Nox just going to reduce his options to nil with the Tesla cannon. Very, very hard to escape that damage. Now Nox goes back in towards the payload. Needs a bit of team to back him up, and he's got one, but the Earthshatter comes in here just over the top. It's going to be a charge straight on in there. Somehow AlphaCast survives that one through. He's going to be able to live to fight another day, and Crew still in the back line, but then we can see X-Ron going in with the Dragon Blade. Transcendence forced out for this one. X-Ron realizes there's not much he can do about that and has to back away for now.
Yeah, it was perfect by Kitty, actually, to pop at the right time to keep Alpha alive while there was a Dragon Blade on top of him. I kind of wonder, though, Ukraine. Tracer Genji's not bad, but I'm curious why they have a Reinhardt, because who's standing behind the Reinhardt? It's pretty much Anna. Zarya doesn't want to stand behind the shield necessarily because you want to absorb some energy, and Juthi's is really hard to get. Yeah, they're not going to be behind the shield. If anything, go with the Winston. You have such a heavy engage, or such a strong composition for engaging with the help of the Lucio. Why not use it to its full effect and jump into the backline of France?
Indeed, not even a Zenyatta to just peek orbs out from there. So, not really high value coming from that Reinhardt shield. Crew there gets himself a nice Deadeye. That's maybe one reason you take a shield in that case. Gunrock's able to be slippery just to avoid Crew for now. We get to view Crew struggling to hit those shots, but Gunrocks gets picked up by D-Gun top side anyway. And even gets a spray out as a result. So 1 minute left here. Payload stalling out here just under the shuttle, which is often where it does. We need a very successful fight from the Ukraine to win their way through. They have the Graviton Surge and they have that Nano Boost. It's about making it stick, it's about making the damage go where it needs to go here. But again, the column does roll into the hangar.
The problem is, where do you Graviton Surge in this phase? Because there's so many different areas they could come from. There's so much altitude to actually fight from this position. You can't get a good Graviton Surge off unless they get engaged against you in a really stupid manner.
Well, Nano Boost gets used there on a play that's caught inside a Graviton Surge already, but now we can see X-Ron again has the Dragon Blade. This time, there's no Transcendence to stop him. AlphaCast won't be able to do too much about it. Now he looks for Crew. Can't quite get onto him, but Scarabaeus did a great job there on his own. Hanging on to life with just a little bit of health. You can see how low he is there. Stays alive, gets himself at least 2 kills for the fight, and this should be Ukraine getting that next checkpoint.
Yeah, maybe French just got too cocky there, because like D-Gun got pulled into the Graviton Surge. He didn't die from it, but in the meantime, we still have the fight breaking out. We have the Transcendence being used out of Kitty to keep the team alive, and Crew as well towards the back as eventually just followed as Ron.
Yeah, Optimus now around the backside. Ron getting himself 2 kills there, and now the Dragon Blade coming in here for D-Gun. This one really has to stick. He needs to make this one work. He's not really sure who he's going towards. He gets on towards X-Ron at least, but who else? Scarabaeus is still alive, and D-Gun is low. Very low. Too low, in fact, to hang on. AlphaCast trying to get it done, actually. Staying alive on this point. Gets himself 2 kills, keeping his team in this one. one. There's overtime's ticking down, and Gunrox, he can only really just keep it in stasis right now. He's going to have to back away soon, and that overtime's going to get even nastier. Kuroneko has to run, but he's got no dash available. Overtime expires, and great job for AlphaCast and Nox to keep that point contested. They prevent Ukraine from getting that second checkpoint, and they win the first map.
And that's why a win streak could be so strong too, especially with the changes to overtime, because it ticks down so quickly. If you can just knock off the appropriate people around the payload, they don't have the opportunity or the time to actually get back on top of it to keep it contested. So there you go, France. Unable to actually complete the map on attack, do successfully defend in the second phase. And who's getting the play of the game? Of course, it's going to be a Mercy play of the game.
It is the current meta, Jason. It's the way it goes. So obviously Ukraine making extensive use of Mercy, and it really helped them, I think, on their defensive side to stay alive through these fights. But I'm not convinced about it, how they sort of worked on their second side there as well. A little bit of a weaker attack coming out from them, obviously, as they were held inside that shuttle phase. Gunrock's playing quite nicely there over on the Reaper. Sometimes you just need a Reaper, but, you know, you brought up a really interesting point, Jason. Using the Reinhardt shield, you did.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
You talked about, of course, the Reinhardt shield not being made good use of.
Right.
I guess is a good way to put it. They didn't really have the heroes that would benefit from being able to sit behind it and fire away.
It's, I mean, there's like one good instance you would take a Reinhardt shield there is preventing the enemy team from Earth Shattering you. But Nox wasn't even playing Reinhardt, he was playing Winston. So you didn't really have the shield be as effective as it could be. Yeah, it's a formidable force, but I feel like if Ukraine just went for like the quick attack kind of route, I mean, Tracer, yes, you can't like climb up to the high areas, but you can get around quick enough with your blinks, and because there's so much open area, you can actually get into positions you need to. Take the high ground control, like take that away from France, which was using that so well with Deegan up the high ground on Reaper, even Nox jumping up there, and then kind of work from there. Like if you jump on an AlphaCast or on a Kitty playing on the two supports, you can usually kill them as like a Genji, Tracer, and Winston, and that immediately just starts a big snowball that France can't come back from.
Well, we're able to bounce back at this stage. Now we are going to see the Ukrainian side start on the attack here for Hollywood, so we are just going to see if everyone is ready.
Wait,
for that
I can
one.
join now.
Yeah, you can
I added you to friends. We're friends now. You can.
Ooh.
Actually, I can join Alpha. I'm an idiot.
I'll invite you to the game, mate.
Thanks, man.
There you go.
All right.
All right, so we should be ready to go. Waiting for the French side to ready up here. So, to be fair, I mean, probably the most impressive parts of the French lineup to me, honestly, was AlphaCast there holding on that last point for a few moments.
You realize he can like cut this out and like replay it every morning for himself as an alarm.
I hope he does, because whatever gets him through the day, in my opinion. But also Kitty there, strong Zenyatta over towards that second part. Positioning is everything when it comes to that hero, and did well to sort of keep himself safe. So it's going to be Hollywood. We're going to be jumping in. I assume the casters are ready. If they're not, well, we're ready.
Yeah, if they're not, well, too bad.
Yep.
It's impossible to organize like all the casters to make sure they're ready on time, especially when the players just want to play the game. They want to get their matches done.
I just want to see some Overwatch. So we're going to jump in now towards Hollywood for our second map here. And this is a best-of-3 series. So obviously with the French up 1-0 already, all they need to do is show a strong performance on this map.
Yeah, so it gets interesting here too, because there is the potential for ties in the way the system works here for the World Cup. At least for the group stages. I don't know how it's being transitioned later on. So if neither team captures the actual payload here in the beginning, we could have a tie on the map, which means we go into the third map no matter what. And we, from there, could still have a tie in the entire series if Lijiang Towers won by Ukraine.
Yes.
So if we do see, it looks like Ukraine, or if we do see France like capture the point, oh, actually no, if we do see Ukraine capture the point, then it's automatically no chance of a tie on this map. So they have to win the map from that point on. But to not capture the first point in hopes that you can full hold France is not obviously an opportunity or a possibility. It's not a relevant strategy or a smart strategy to go by.
Crew and D-Gun as well, who are like the kings of getting in your face and being aggressive. So like dive comps should be the order of the day for the French attack. But let's talk about the Ukrainian attack here as well. They themselves have that aggressive comp. Now, you know, you said they were lacking the Reinhardt on Gibraltar, but now they're bringing that Winston here on Hollywood potentially. And if they do, they're going to have the Tracer to flank around. They're going to have the Genji to go in with him. This seems a bit more of a robust composition, Jason.
Well, what worries me is that so Ukraine has a great comp for like you're saying, like really quick engages and to force fights onto people. Problem is, France is so damn tanky. They have triple tank and they have a Reaper at 250 HP. So the only real targets you can focus down quickly enough are going to be AlphaCast or Kitty on the Zen or the Ana, respectively. It's really hard for you to kill any of those people, and to take the tanks down is going to be even harder.
So it's a tough life then if you're playing Tracer and Genji into this composition, perhaps.
Yeah.
But Gunrox,
he's behind him.
Yeah, he wants to try and find Kitty here early. We'll stick with him for a moment. Nox taking a little bit of damage over on the site, but apart from that, nothing to write home about. So Gunrox has Ana and, of course, the Zenyatta, who are a little bit more fragile. Instead, goes for shooting his Eye Shield and then a little bit of damage. So here we go. Nox not aware of it. That just absolutely achieved nothing there for Gunrox coming in from the backside. Kind of started attacking the first target he saw and then gave Zaya some charge and then got smacked in the head.
Yeah, I want to kind of say that, like, maybe a strategy there that didn't win the fight, but I'm not 100% sure that that's what actually was the case. Obviously, Gunrox being behind the team is really a lot of pressure, but I think France dealt with it correctly. They dealt with it well enough, being able to spot him out and focus him when he came in. I think the big turning point comes when Ukraine has ultimates, though, is when they have that pulse bomb. If you can catch on a Kitty and Alpha Cast, or just one of them, and not to mention the Graviton Surge paired in, if with a pulse bomb, if you want to go that combo, it quickly dismantle any sort of tank lineup. But this is also saying that Ukraine has to wait a little bit longer, or a lot longer, to actually get these ultimates up before they can have pretty much a guaranteed one fight on this point.
Well, Scarabaeus wants to go in here, but Nox is going to get the nano boost on him. He catches Kuroneka with the charge. It's just perfect for the French side here to respond to that attack. Obviously, they did expend 2 ultimates in that fight, but it seems to have done the job. They lost a couple. We'll need to reinforce them, but right behind as well, Kitty, yeah, 2 ults. They used 2 ults.
No. They lost Kitty and Alpha Cast. Actually, Xron was able to get into the back and kill the 2 supports immediately. And you're seeing France already back away to make sure they can get here really quickly. They're actually conceding a majority of the point because they have Xron behind them, who's still being this nuisance. He's doing what Gunrox did before, and now they're forcing the engagement onto the point with the Graviton Surge.
That's right. It does come out. They're Transcendence to respond to the Ukrainian side, so they're able to stay alive a little bit longer. D-Gun tries to go for Death Blossom, but it's cut down midway through the animation. Nox can't hit this charge, but at least looking for someone to hit around the head with the hammer. Gunrock's going to be annoying. Coming in from the backside here. I think it's just Nox left on the point on his own. And it is just Kitty up above trying to keep Nox healed up. It's actually working, but eventually Gunrox is going to come in from behind. Gets on towards Kitty. That was actually Juth that picks up the kill. Nano boost? Seriously? Nox comes in. See Earth Shadow, but it's not going to be quite enough for now. At least a chance for D-Gun to come through, but this point will eventually go over to the Ukrainian side.
Yeah, the Graviton Surge that did come in wasn't bad, actually. And pairing that with an Ana, the Battle Grenade was actually really well done. But in the meantime, Ukraine, yeah, like, so they had ultimates up. They were able to engage the way they wanted to. They had the pressure out of Xron towards the back to really kind of force them to fight the battle on 2 different fronts again. Even though Scarabaeus did die pretty much instantly in that fight, it didn't matter because you had Xron and Gunrox together, who was able to fight on both fronts and was able to focus them down. Now, Xron, he's trying to actually get control here of the high ground. He's trying to prevent them from being able to do it because D-Gun, he's already switched over to the Genji himself.
Look at that. Xron manages to help his team pick up both of the supports on the side of France, so they shouldn't be halted too much in the near future. Now Xron going to be struggling. The outplay is so real. It was down to 50 health and gets the reflect on towards Crew. A little bit cocky. Crew wasn't expecting it and won't be happy with that result.
Feels bad, man. That was so well done by Xron. He kept us cool, too. Like, if I was in that situation, I would have been peeing myself. I'm like, yeah, it's Crew. I have 50 HP. I'm dead. See you, boys. But he holds on. He keeps his composure and wins the fight. But now you have Scarabaeus on the high ground. You have Graviton Surge. They're going to have Dragon Blade, most importantly, in a few seconds. And if they come as correctly with the Transcendence being used so early, they can easily win this fight.
Well, Xron now up above the fight. He sees it all as it happens. He's going to pull out the Dragon Blade just as the Transcendence finishes off. Perfect timing for him. Gunrox gets a kill in that fight as well. But it's all about Xron cutting them down one by one. And this checkpoint will be reached far easier here for the Ukrainian side. A team wipe comes out. They had the ultimates. They used them at the right time, and the French didn't have anything to counter them with.
Well, the thing is, France did, but they wasted it too early. Alpha Cast uses Transcendence to actually engage the fight. But the problem is, when you're Ukraine, you're just like, all right, well, we're highly mobile. We can run away from you with the Lucio speed boost. We can wait out the Transcendence. And then, hey, hello, Graviton Surge into a Dragon Blade. So France kind of actually lost themselves that fight by engaging so quickly there.
Well, we have the Primal Rage coming out here at the moment from Scarabaeus. Gets him very, very deep here. Good little stagger, I guess, on these 2 damage dealers, but now he needs to pop his shield and get back. He's done very, very well, Scarabaeus has to survive that, let alone do so much delaying. He even picks up Nox as he comes forward here. Cruz made the switch towards McCree. Headshot comes in, but not much you can do when the monkey comes out you, as angry as he is. And now Gunrox wants to challenge. Crew goes very, very low. Gunrox actually has to back out as well. He was down to about 10 health himself. But good momentum being built up by Ukraine here. Very good.
But there's no shield to block unless somehow Scarabaeus times it perfectly. A Earth Shatter out of Nox. And this is where things are going to be really bad for Ukraine. They need to switch to a Reinhardt, I would say, for the most part, to handle Nox. But Nox is actually smartly enough holding on to it for now because they realize they don't need it just yet.
Transcendence comes out here as well. That comes out after the fight. Now, here's the... Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Earth Shatter come out to counter the Transcendence, or at least over the top of it here, to make sure the damage gets stuck. That's a nice little pulse bomb, though, speaking of stuck, coming into the back of that one now. And Nox left on his own. That nice little Transcendence into the Earth Shatter really working out. You can see Gunrox able to push forward here. D-Gun falling Had the Discord orb on him, it's not going to be enough, and Ukraine might just push through here. Fantastic turnaround in that fight.
There's gonna be a last chance to Miklo. He's got Prime Rage available. He's gonna get on top of the payload here to buy some time. But what can France do off the back of this?
He went so low, so damn quick. We need to see the rest of France get involved in this one. Scarabaeus gets stumped up. That is going to be D-Gun off towards the side, so the most of the French can actually get on towards this point. Double Transcendence coming out from both sides, and now the Dragon Blade in for D-Gun. He's looking for down targets. People on the ground can't get up. They can't stop themselves from being cut into pieces by D-Gun, and he gets himself a nice brace of kills, and this should stop this push here. But there's still a couple minutes left in the bank here for Ukraine to work with.
So what caused the fight to get this position is, remember we had the Transcendence come out of Optimus, and then Nox Earth-Shadowed it, and he hit like 3 people, but they didn't win the fight off of that because they actually got Graviton Surge. He didn't wait till the Transcendence actually finished before engaging, because he's like, I can pin someone and we can kill him. But on that time, when he had his ultimate up, he actually waited for the ultimate to finish the Transcendence, and then he Earth-Shattered down, getting 3 people, able to hold on enough, and actually, most importantly, pick up the kills off the back of the Earth-Shatter, since before it previously did nothing. So it was a little minor tweak to Nox, being a little bit more patient this time, that actually won the fight, and at least bought him a little bit more time.
Gunrock's going in now as well. Sound barrier will be available for the French side, and Gunrock's just not been contested for the most part, but eventually, accidentally even, Nox manages to catch him with the hammer. Now the Transcendence coming in. Again, it's responded with from both teams. So we do see the healing on both sides of the coin, and now from the backside, it was X-Ron really trying to turn this fight around. At least doesn't have a Dragon Blade yet to work with, and he's being attacked here by the Winston. You can see his health going down. He's trying to stay alive, but Nox is going to be the door in his way to shut in his face. Now the Earthshatter coming down. You better believe he's going to use it. Pulse Bomb doesn't get anyone, and that's a great timing on ult from Nox. He was low. He could have died, but he hung around, and he got a nice little, at least 3-man Earthshatter.
The thing is, I like what Scarabaeus did in that fight, because he tried to keep Nox out of the fight completely by Prima-Raging him and knocking him away. So he's like, all right, you guys don't have a shield to hide behind in such an enclosed area that the rest of my team should be able to finish you off. But Nox is able to get back, still able to charge up an Earthshatter in the midst of only having, I think it was like 20% when he got knocked away initially, to turn that fight around. And now France is finally able to put up a formidable defense here. I think Ukraine just need to combo their ultimates maybe a little bit better, somehow deal with Miklo, I think, for the most part. Maybe get like a Reaper instead of this Tracer. I don't know, Gunrox has been having a good game so far, so it's hard for me to say that, but a Reaper here would be definitely strong.
Yeah, we know what Winston can do to a Genji. You can't really block that kind of damage, but now Miklo wants to get in the middle of it here. Sound barrier comes down. This is going to be the fight happening right now. Crew getting into the back line here. You can see he had a Pulse Bomb available earlier on. I don't see how he used it, maybe not to great effect. It's very, very busy, ladies and gentlemen, as we do see 2 Transcendences come out. Miklo just put on the ground, and the bomb just slid sneakily into his pocket for him to take away. The problem is that this fight's looking very, very good for Ukraine. Despite the ults expended here by the French side, they're getting wrecked. Now the charge comes in from Nox. Doesn't hit anyone in particular. D-Gun hoping to make ends meet with a Dragon Blade, gets himself on towards Judes, but eventually is cut down. Now the Ukrainian side still pushing forward. Bit of stall happening on the payload. At least their Crew trying to get himself back and forth across it. He's allowing for the rest of his team to filter back in. X-Ron keeping himself at medium range right now and only dashing in when he has to, but that Graviton Surge should tie it up and have it finished. Miklo finally falls. Where are the French? Nowhere to be seen. D-Gun, can he get onto the payload? He can. He won't be alive for long though. Has to reflect and eventually is going to fall. That will be it. No time left though in the time bank whatsoever for Ukraine. They used it all up there. The French with 3 or 4 really good holds towards the end after a bit of an average second phase.
And you see, I think, the power, or the potential power of Winston there out of Miklo, because he had the Prima Rage towards the end. Like, thing is, he jumped on the point, he was able to stay alive. He had the Prima Rage to buy time for the respawns to come back in. But that Graviton Surge that came in out of Kuroneko the last second was just enough to solidify the completion for them. But like you said, there's no time left in the time bank. But that all it has to mean, or all it means for them, is just to full hold France. But now, if France also finish with 0 seconds left, we have a tie, as far as I know, in the new competitive system. So,
I think, don't you get 1 minute added for?
I don't.
I
honestly don't know. I've never seen a situation happen.
I had it. Well, I mean, if it goes to time, I'm pretty sure if you have less than a minute, you get a minute added. I don't know. That's just what I had that last night anyway. So
this tilts me, Mitch. If
yeah, it doesn't fit inside the VIP square.
The actual finish line doesn't fit properly.
I know. I'm a bit OCD about these kind of things. I'll be honest with you. That is killing me.
All right, so let's look at what Ukraine has to defend with, since they're going to be the ones on point initially, or at least quickly. They're using the Genji again out of X-Ron, who didn't have a bad game. He actually did fairly well. Had some really good time Dragon Blades, especially pairing that with Kuroneko on the Zarya. And the Reaper as well is not too bad. Again, they have a really heavy engaged composition, so I would imagine once France gets to the checkpoint, they want to fight. And France is running that triple tank, triple support setup yet again, which I think Ukraine doesn't have too bad of a lamp to actually deal with it. Maybe like a Roadhog would turn things a little bit better, but...
yeah, I mean, the Zenyatta Reaper is there.
I'm worried is like it's Kitty Nox. Like when the Nano Boost comes up, which is really easy to get on an Ana, and you can have it for technically the first big fight. How is Nox going to handle this, or how is Ukraine more importantly going to handle his Nano Boost?
That's going to be a scary factor. Obviously, we know what Reinhardt can do with Nano Boost. Far too much, in my opinion, but that's just the way it works right now. And yeah, so you can expect Ana, should I say, to charge it up really, really fast as she does with the healing. It's good. It's a good ratio for her. It's like the old Mercy ult that teams used to charge up before the first fight happened, but already quite an advanced position taken here by the French side. And you can see now the Winston trying to jump into the backline. That's Scarabaeus as well, looking for the squishier targets, doesn't find any, and is actually cut down. Good little disengage, good little backup here by the French side. They pick off 3 of the Ukrainian defenders purely because they're just positioned too aggressively.
Yeah, so Ukraine, they wanted a really aggressive, quick, fast attack. But AlphaCast, again, you have to give him credit. He actually does speed Anthem away. And from that, Ukraine's initial burst, initial catch was completely mitigated. And then you had 2 people a little bit too far overextended, and then France was able to just focus them down one by one. And it looks like initially captured this point.
Yeah, nice work. I mean, they're just getting one kill after kill after kill. I mean, I don't even know if this is necessary for Nox really to have this at this stage. Probably could even use it for the next fight to push through. But, I mean, it's used anyway, so we'll see how it all plays in now. We see the Dragon Blade coming out from Exron. He's got a lot of things to get through now. He's looking for Kitty. That's the good choice. Gets her. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough now. Point will be taken.
I would imagine that France is going to need to switch away from potentially the Reinhardt here or switch into a Winston. The thing is, they have nothing that takes high ground control, and he just uses Earth Shatter, so I would assume it's going to be coming in. But somehow, Ukraine is still trickling in one by one. Scarabaeus is back here to party, but I mean, it's just him and Lucio for now, and that should eventually be able to wipe this one up.
Yeah, I mean, when you know how long you have to stall for, or at least you have an idea what you need to do in the map. Oh, nice little, that was can I just say, Kitty, beautiful sleep dart. We saw the Reaper come in and use the Death Blossom. Gunrox got put to sleep right at the start of that. Fantastic play from the Ana, really. That's the best way you can use that ult. It's incredible for disrupting people. We know that, but seeing it in action is another thing entirely.
I like what we're seeing Ukraine do, actually. They get high ground control. Well, they were trying to. Skirneka did get caught out. I think he has a Graviton Surge, which is going to be really key here. And actually, with him going down, it looks like Ukraine have conceded this initial general store roof hold. I don't see what France has that can contest or contend the high ground at the moment. Like, they don't really have anything that can get there. They don't have a Genji, they don't have a Pharah, they don't have a Winston, even a Diva. I would imagine Ukraine should have a decent time of actually hold on to this, but it comes down to, maybe if a cheeky hook comes in out of Mikolo, or maybe a good Graviton Surge out of Crew.
Well, we do see now Scarabaeus dropping down. Was he on his own? No, he had company. Now the Graviton Surge going to come in, but a nice biotic grenade again from Kitty, and there comes the Nano Boost as well. Perfect combination of play here from that Ana. Didn't quite hit the sleep dart, but again now is left to deal with this Winston up close and personal while Nox goes and gets 4 kills. Funny how we watched it the wrong side of the fight there, but still. Nox managed to get it done, charged up his ult, of course, with the amount of damage he did. I just wanted to see if the Ana would be able to survive against the Winston.
Honestly, I think France kind of got a little bit lucky there that Ukraine wasn't able to take advantage of the high ground a little bit earlier on. Like, you attack from the high side, they didn't contest the payload until it was in a position where Ukraine had to drop, and now Nox with the Earth Shudder always seeming to be up online. He hits on the 1, and they wipe out the complete fight here. Yeah,
nice there by Nox. He's not afraid to swing the hammer. They actually get the point there. That brief period that Exron actually had to step off from the payload was enough for the French to get it over the line. Exron reflects the hook. Gets the health, has to use a dash charge to get him. Nox was right on his heels as well. He might not be allowed to get away. This is a Reinhardt gone absolutely wild, but Nox can't quite chase down the Genji, has to leave him there. As we did see a little bit of reinforcement come in the form of Scarabaeus, who's made a switch now over towards Reinhardt. Fair enough, over on this last point. Wants to be able to let his team get up close and personal without taking too much poke damage. Sound Barrier coming out for the defensive side here. It's going to be a mischarge for Scarabaeus. Exron gets caught out by Crew, who's dealing a lot of damage here. Very, very well charged up, and with that Discord orb over on Kuroneko, it's going to be an easy pick-off.
Yeah, I mean, Gunrox went in too deep. He went in with Exron towards the backside, and once Gunrox died, it was like, all right, well, there goes your entire... Well, the majority of your damage that would potentially be coming through. But they have a second chance to hold here. Problem is, Crew, he's got Graviton Surge ready to go. Optimus is going to need to be on point and save this Transcendence for that ultimate alone.
He actually lets it go there. Crew does use the Graviton Surge. Now another Nano Boost, this time on towards Mikolo. Good Earth Shadow though, but another one comes in response. It's a perfect response there from Nox. He shuts it on down. Crew and Nox getting themselves some kills. That was a very drawn out squeal. What happened there?
Did he charge a Lucio?
I don't know. I just said something like, Anyway, payload getting across the line here. And the French will have a lot more time left in their bank here. So with both teams having 3 points, I believe. I'm not sure. I believe
France attacks, and if France takes the point, it's over.
Yes.
I believe.
Is TV. Okay, people are still adjusting to our new way of play. So, yes, The French side can attack. All they have to do is get that one extra point. There's no time left, I guess, for Ukraine to do it. I think.
So Ukraine has to hold first point for 3 minutes 35 seconds to win the game.
Okay, I got it. So
Season 1 PTSD.
if both teams have no time bank, if both teams finish in overtime, I think you both get 1 minute added to get as much as you can. I think that's the case there.
I mean, the players are adjusting to the new comp mode. I mean, so are the casters.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to have every situation played out for you, so you can actually figure it out.
Yeah,
but
the only one I knew was I had a heartbreaking loss on Kings Row last night. Well, both teams sort of finished in overtime, and then we had like 1 minute. Both had 1 minute to finish on.
Okay.
Attack,
so you did get the minute.
We did in that case anyway. So I have to assume that's because neither team had anything left in the bank. But I could be wrong. Either way.
But let's look at the
35.
lineup Ukraine has, though. So they realize they have to hold first point, and what are they using? Mei. Extron not going to be on Genji's going to be playing Mei. You can't actually fully wall off that initial area if you get in the right position. The only downside for him is if he holds, from that corner, he's in such a bad spot where he has no one to really save him.
Can't fall back anywhere either.
And why are they using the Mei if they're not going to hold the choke point? So the entire team's holding from behind, and I mean, Extron, he can close off like a decent amount of the area, but holding from Cafe here, it's kind of like, well, we want you to come in and then maybe split you off when the fight breaks out. I don't know. This is really risky out of Ukraine.
You want to use Mei to cut off one person or multiple people from the team as they come forward. Maybe they're not confident, Jason, that they can actually block off the whole entry. Could be something there. Anyway, a lot of poke damage coming out from the defenders here as well. The Ukraine know that they can't really afford to lose this point at all. Nox's shield is getting completely chunked down and he's going to have to back away. In the meantime, well, the French are looking for an opening. They're looking for a way to just create a push. So here's that wall coming in, but it doesn't catch anyone off. You see, Crew just quickly gets around back behind it and manages to come back into the fight. Mikolo gets on towards Scarabaeus. This could be it. This could be the Avalanche that wins the game here for the French side. Crew gets on towards Kuroneko, supercharged up there as well. Nice use of that energy resource, and my lord, that was a very quick take there as well. Expect no less, no chance, sadly, for Juths to get a resurrect there. Only halfway charged towards that ultimate. And we're going to see now Crew pushing even further forward as well. Just going to be lasering down Scarabaeus as he charges forward. The Ukrainians already calling the GGs. And a Graviton Surge coming out just for good measure because obviously the point is taken. That is the game. And it's going to be the French to take that first one. It's going to be 2-0.
Like, the Mei there isn't bad, but the problem is with the Mei, if you don't hit the wall correctly, then the enemy team realizes, they don't have a wall anymore. We don't have to worry about the threat of being walled off, that they can throw Nox in with a nano boost. Like, obviously, you can throw Nox with a nano boost no matter what, but if, say, he gets walled off and he's the only one out there with the nano boost, what do you actually accomplish off the chaos that a nano boosted Reinhardt gives you? You just can't. So because he used the wall earlier, they weren't able to really hold France back, and France immediately knew to just engage.
And they got the pick from Mikolo there as well. He managed to hit the hook on towards Scarabaeus, so your Reinhardt's already dead there. No one's really going to be safe. And yeah, it's interesting to see how Mei's getting used in a few different contexts.
Crew, 33 high energy kills out of 46.
Well, you saw though, especially on the attacking side, like he was constantly charged up, even defending for the French side. So I hope our overlay showed it, but it was a 2-0 ultimately to France here up against Ukraine. So
did I not have the 1-0
I think it said 0-0 at the end of the game. So.
Yep.
So that was actually it. If you just joined in, we did have Gibraltar first up, which the French managed to hold very, very nicely on that first point. Don't worry about it, mate. It's fine. We're still getting used to it again as well. So it's going to be a 2-0 in favour of France. They already beat Croatia earlier on today. That was a 2-0, and they are looking quite strong. A team, Jason, who did suffer a lot of criticism for maybe how it was put together. AlphaCast did, of course, bring in 2 pro players into that lineup. I think it was Crew. Digon was already voted in, so it was Crew and Nox.
Yep.
And that seems to have worked out very, very well for them. They've been practicing. It seems to have paid off for them now. Can we have a look at some updated group scores?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to look at, because I remember in their group they had Norway, who was 2-0. So their match against Norway is extremely big. So let's just hop that on your screen. I had to make sure it was okay. So in Group C, they're now 2-0, France, tied with Norway at 2-0. I don't actually know when this match happens. I have to look at my schedule again really quickly to see when that one would be kicking off, but that's going to be a cracker of a match between the two teams. Ukraine now, unfortunately, has lost their first match, so they're 0-1. Where else? I'm not 100% sure everything's been updated yet, or anything new's been updated, because we've only had one game today so far.
Yeah,
and that was the match we casted before.
Norway plays France tomorrow at 3:30 CEST.
Who's it being casted by? So it's going to be casted in French, it looks like tomorrow at the moment, by PT Wiki or PTI Wiki.
Yeah, because we're doing Hungary UK at the time.
Yeah, so there is a chance to watch that game, not necessarily in English, but we do have a Reddit thread which you can type !schedule in chat, and you can see who's all casting what at the moment. But keep in mind, those are updated like as soon as I have more information, because some casters will switch games. Some games are still being scheduled as we speak, so they get thrown into the mix. So at the moment he's casted it, I'm assuming because he's doing French, he's going to stick with it anyways.
So that would be the
that gives you an
decider
idea.
match of this group, no doubt about it. That would be the one to watch.
I want to see that match tie. Actually, that'd be really good because of what it can do to like the entire pool of the group. But we'll see.
Well, we're going to go to a break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back here at 5 p.m. CEST. It's going to be Sweden versus Slovakia, I believe.
Finland versus Hungary.
Oh, we done that one. Oh, that's what. Oh, at 3:30.
Yeah.
3:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I got a bit ahead of myself there. We threw an extra game in, so I got confused. It's going to be Finland versus Hungary first, guys. If you've been waiting to see what the Finnish lineup has been able to produce, I tell you what, it's going to be very, very interesting. It is a scary, scary looking roster. We'll talk more about that, though, after the break.